If you ask anyone who's played a lot of video games over the years, what's their top horror game? You'll most likely hear the name Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 is held among the top games in the horror genre. Now, to be very honest, I can't do horror. I get scared easily to the point that I have to play a YouTube video on a second screen while I play any kind of horror game. So when the game released, even though I really wanted to play it, the coward inside kept saying no.
But sometimes cowards do survive.
Until I saw the Steam page. Now, this is not the only reason. I don't play games just because it's rated very highly. Otherwise, I would have played games like. Anyways, Silent Hill 2 is considered one of the greatest games of all time. Not just because of the horror, but also because of its story, the themes, and the way it shows very human issues. I love a good story in video games, and it doesn't matter what the genre is or gameplay is like. If it has a good story, I'll most likely end up playing it. And after playing the remake for myself, which released just a couple of months ago, I think I understand why this game is held so highly in gaming history. Oh, and before I start glazing about how good the game is, if you haven't played the game and want to experience this Mona Lisa of a video game, then again, just click off the video, buy the game, and then come back because I'll be talking about everything in the game. So consider this a spoiler warning as well. But- Oh, fuck.
What is this place?
Hey, I know you. You're Alan Wake. From the hit game Alan Wake.
That's correct.
My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer.
Who are you?
I'm Ethan Winters from hit game series Resident Evil. I'm looking for my wife.
No way. I'm also looking for my wife.
You both are looking for your wives as well?
You know I love my wife so much, I wouldn't care if my hand or legs gets chopped off.
Same here. I'd stay in the dark place forever, if it means Alice can escape.
Oh wow, it's like we all have so lot in common. What about you, James?
Yes, I love Mary so much that I...
Silent Hill 2 takes place in the town of Silent Hill. Once a totally normal town where people used to spend their vacation to get away from their busy life. But what are we doing here in a town that's been abandoned? Well, James Sunderland, our protagonist, received a letter from his late wife, Mary Sunderland, to meet her at their special place. You see, James and Mary came to Silent Hill for a vacation around 3 years ago, and for Mary, the town became a special place just for the two of them.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did. Well, I'm alone there now. In our special place. Waiting for you.
But the thing is, Mary died from a terminal disease 3 years ago.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary. My wife's name. It's ridiculous. Couldn't possibly be true.
Then how is there a letter from her asking to meet James at the special place?
Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. So then why am I looking for her?
Now, it's not exactly mentioned what kind of disease Mary was suffering from, but from what I've read around the internet and the way the game describes it, it's most likely cancer or some sort of disease similar to cancer.
Could Mary really be here? Is she really alive?
There are not a lot of side characters in the game. In total, there are 3, or arguably a 4 if you count the schizophrenia as well. The first one you meet is Angela. Like James, Angela is here to find her mother. And your first impression of Angela is that She seems to be a little shy and introverted, and that's completely understandable. I mean, you're meeting someone you clearly don't know in a cemetery, which is in a town that has been abandoned. So it's kind of given that you're a little guarded.
Lost? It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Usually, in these long form videos, the protagonist character is discussed at some time around halfway through the video. But I want to talk about James's character now, so you're able to understand him better as the video goes. In words of J. Jonah Jameson, James is a
He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante, a public menace.
nah. I'm just joking. You see, James isn't very, how should I say, expressive. He's a broken man after Mary passed away. He's reserved. He doesn't talk much. Doesn't try to make any kind of small talk like your average American.
Will you shut the hell up?
He tries to comfort and connect with other side characters, but is clearly unable to because of his own issue and mental state. And he's also clearly depressed, borderline suicidal, which means he doesn't really gives a shit what happens to him. Very hygienic James. It's almost as clean as a restroom at a gas station. In short, James' mental health has really deteriorated
Deteriorated.
over the past 3 years, so much so that he breaks any single window he sees in a 5 kilometer radius.
Whoa! Hey! Why'd you do that?
One detail I like to mention is that throughout the game, you can see James getting visibly exhausted. Like from the initial cutscene to the finale, you'll see that the eye bags get darker and his clothes get dirtier. And I really love how the game just shows that the town of Silent Hill is really taking its toll on James. On your way, you grab a map of the town, and the way you open the map, I just love. I just love when games do this kind of thing. Far Cry 2 also did this, and I think this adds a lot to the immersion. The game doesn't goes into a pause state like it does usually in other games. The map is like an in-game item that you use, so you're kind of shuffling through the maps as to where you want to go while you're being completely vulnerable to any kind of threat near you. James is on his way to Rosewater Park, as this might be the special place that Mary mentioned in her letter. And you'll realize walking through the town that most of the roads leading out of the town or to the other parts of the town are either broken or just walled off by massive
Now we.
scaffoldings covered in white sheet or curtains, I guess. To get to the park, you'll need to go through some abandoned houses and buildings since the roads are broken or walled off, like I just mentioned. And going through one of the houses, you acquire your first, I guess you can say, like equipment or like your first item, which is a radio. This radio acts like a radar to detect nearby enemies, although it's not very effective against one particular enemy type. The radio starts making static noise whenever an enemy is nearby. This house is also where you get your first weapon and you're introduced to the melee combat of the game. The melee combat is pretty simple. You can attack with a wooden board and dodge when the enemy attacks. It looks and plays a lot like the combat of Callisto Protocol. In that game also, the combat is just attack and dodge most of the time. The only difference being that here in Silent Hill, you can press the button in any direction, whereas in Callisto Protocol, you must choose in which direction you want to dodge. The first enemy you encounter is called Line Figure. Just from one look of the enemy, you can tell that it looks like a person trapped in a body bag. And with this, I think I want to discuss the enemy types in this game. In total, there are 9 enemy types, half of them being your normal mob enemy, and the other half being the bosses. I won't talk about the bosses right now, as that will just straight up spoil it. The first enemy, like I mentioned earlier, is called Line Figure. and is the enemy you'll encounter the most in the entire game. Think of them like the Goomba from Mario, except they actually fight back. The second most common enemy you'll find is called the mannequin. It's like a two pairs of dummy legs and they're like stitched together. I fucking hate this enemy. It's always hiding either under a table or some furniture or right behind a corner where you don't bother to check. And as soon as you turn your back, the radio doesn't detect them. And unless you attack it or it comes out of the hiding spot, there's no way to know if they are in the room with you. There's another version of this enemy that was added only in the remake. I don't know what it's called exactly, but this version can climb the walls like a spider, and I think that makes things only worse. The next enemy is called the creeper.
Creeper? Oh man.
It's basically a small bug like a beetle and is mostly harmless, as you'll most likely kill it before it even tries to do anything. This enemy sometimes is also hard to detect because of its size, so there is a chance that you'll be looking around like an idiot waiting for something to attack you. You might have seen either the cosplay or fan art of this enemy, the bubblehead nurse. The nurse has a mask on their head with some semi-liquid thing in it, giving them a swollen head and hence the name bubblehead. They also have a red square on their mouth, which I'll explain later. The nurse starts appearing from the hospital section of the game, and from there it becomes a common enemy. Just like Mannequin, it also has two variations. The first one is having a pipe as a weapon, and the second one a knife. The nurse is also the only enemy that can block or stop your attacks, and the only one that does a combo. The next enemy, Mandarin, doesn't attack you head on. It's always hanging from the floor grill like a monkey bar with hands that look like mouth. And the Mandarin is also the only enemy that later appears as a boss. One thing I'd like to mention is that all of these enemies have some sort of symbolism behind them. Symbolism is a big part of Silent Hill. I think that's what makes this game very special. I'll talk about the symbolism later, but for now, here's a little homework for you. What is the most common thing you can see in these enemies? Oh, and you can ignore the creeper. That's just a bug they added from the first game. So yeah, there's no symbolism in that. On your way to Rosewater Park, you also go through Woodside and Blue Creek apartments. Two massive apartment complexes, now obviously abandoned and overrun by the monsters. Here is the Resident Evil part of the game. If you don't know about Resident Evil, the main gameplay loop of Resident Evil series is puzzle solving, which is more like a treasure hunting. There's the main puzzle that you either require items or clues to solve it, and those items and clues are spread throughout the location, and in this case it's the apartment complex. Usually these puzzles are next to a save point, and although that doesn't matter, I don't know why I mentioned that. Here in the apartment you also get a gun and a flashlight.
I squeezed the flashlight like my life depended on it.
And while exploring the apartment for pieces of the puzzle, you meet two other side characters. Eddie, who you find puking in one of the bathrooms,
Hey, who's there?
It wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't do it, I swear.
and Laura, who you meet only briefly.
Hey! Wait!
There's not much to say about Eddie at this point, since he doesn't tell why he's in town. So James just tells him to get the fuck out of here while he still can. And same goes for Laura. She just kicks the keys out of your reach. We don't know why she's here. You also meet Angela in one of the apartments, and it's clear that, like James, Angela's mental state is not in the very best condition.
It's you.
Look, I'm not sure what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really?
What about that?
Will you hold it for me?
Sure, no problem.
No! I'm sorry! I've been bad! Please don't!
While searching the complex, you meet the Pyramid Head is the mascot of Silent Hill series. This is an enemy you can't kill, and your only option is to not let it see you. And I think James handled the situation perfectly. Going through the door Pyramid Head just went through, you enter the other world. I like to call this place the Shadow Realm, but I guess other world also works. And this place is exactly like the real world version. The only difference is it's decrepit and it's like a parallel version of its real world counterpart. As per the Silent Hill wiki, the other world is shaped by minds and psyche of those present. So yeah, I think we can blame all of this on James. The other world has its own set of puzzles. To be honest, most of the times these are not exactly puzzles. They are basically your average fetch quest, and then you just arrange the pieces in a way that makes sense. But the thing is, the moment you solve one of these puzzles, you feel like the smartest fucking person to ever walk on this earth. After solving the puzzles of this area, you unlock the final door which leads to the Rosewater Park, and this is the first boss fight. And to summarize it, it's a stoppable force meeting an immovable object. The fight plays exactly like how you have fought so far. Just attack and dodge. If you're using the Glock, then it's better if you make some distance between the two of you. You can complete this fight in two ways. You can either survive for 4 minutes without doing any damage, and you can reduce the time by doing enough damage to him. That is, you can just keep shooting him in the face. After running and shooting away like a little bitch, the fight ends and you can finally leave this place. Arriving at the Rosewater Park, you finally get to meet Mary. Hopefully, all that shoving hand in the filth was worth it. But you know what? Good job, James, for making it this far. And look, Mary is here. And she?
Mary? No. You're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
Wait, wife.
Maria, and not Mary, says that she knows a place the lovers might call it special.
There's this one place.
What is this special place?
Not far from
Another fucking park. And from the look on James' face,
Not sure how much.
he looks pretty much done with all this.
Hence this place.
She's not here.
What?
She's not here.
We have other places to look. We can still.
Come on.
The scream is coming from a nearby theater, like just around the corner. So you leave Maria behind. Good job, James. Good stuff for you. And you enter the theater from back window, and
Not much of a movie fan
you get to
anyway.
see Eddie again. But this time, he seems a bit different.
Eddie?
Oh. You're, James.
And he's eating something
Back at the apartment.
what might as well be
Yeah.
pink sauce. Laura, on the other hand, the little kid, keeps running away from James. In a cutscene before you meet Maria, Laura reveals that she somehow knows Mary.
Dum-dum like you doing here anyway.
Hey, that's not very nice. Didn't your parents teach you any manners? What you got there?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
What? Hey, wait!
She exits the theater and makes her run to the Brookhaven Hospital. You meet Maria outside the theater and decide to go after Laura, as this town is clearly not a safe place for a kid.
That way, we can still catch her. Look.
Brookhaven Hospital is the second main dungeon, and like the Blue Creek apartment and the Woodside apartment, it follows the same pattern. There are a bunch of locked doors around the hospital, and to open those, you need to solve some puzzles. Maria feels sick, so she stays behind in one of the rooms.
Hey. You okay?
I'm sorry. It's nothing. Probably just a hangover.
So James is by himself to find Laura, and he does find Laura behind a locked off section of the hospital. So you work your way around to find the key, which leads you to yeah, the Pyramid Head doesn't do much, he just pushes James like a bully. And to be very honest, I was expecting Pyramid Head to be like Mr. X.
Jesus Christ!
Jack Baker from Resident Evil. An unkillable entity who keeps following you around and your only option is to flee. But here, he just keeps pushing James around. James finally manages to reach Laura and confronts her on how she meets Mary. To which Laura replies,
And how do you know about Mary?
I just do. Mary's my friend. We met at the hospital last year.
Stop lying! Laura, I'm sorry.
Fine! Don't believe me! See if I care!
Hey!
Let go!
I'm sorry, Laura, but I can't let you just run around this place. You might get hurt.
Hurt by what?
Look, just...
she says she needs to get a letter from Mary that she hid in one of the rooms.
But there's something I gotta get.
Laura,
It's important.
you sure this is where you left it?
It's in the back.
And James, like a good Samaritan, goes to get the letter for Laura. And what does he get?
Laura?
Haha!
Open the door, Laura.
Why should I? I'm a liar, right? Want me to open it? Huh? Do ya?
Laura, open this door right now.
What's the magic word?
Laura!
Nope, that's not it. I guess I won't open it.
Get me out of here, you rat!
In your dreams, fart face.
Laura, please open the door. There's something in here.
Sure there is. A big lying fart face. See ya, fart face!
Laura! Laura!
This is Flesh Lip, your next boss fight. It's a huge chunk of flesh trapped in a cage with lips at the bottom. Or is that a mouth? Or is it? Yeah, I think it's the same thing. The boss is usually chasing around while hiding in the ceiling, and it will come down to attack you. And this is the only time you can deal any kind of damage to the boss. After repeating this process several times and dealing enough damage, the fight ends and another Flesh Lip appears and drags James to the Shadow Realm. You're in now the other world version of the hospital. Maria catches up to James and she is weirdly concerned. I mean, we just met her like few hours ago at best. I mean, I don't know if she's trying to flirt, but this kind of shit won't work on James. I hope so.
In my whole life, all you care about is that dead wife of yours.
You couldn't care less about me, could you?
No, I just...
Then stay with me. Don't leave me alone again.
You continue searching for Laura, which ends with a Pyramid Head chase sequence. God damn it, this fucking kid is so much like pain in the ass.
Run! Come on, hurry!
Losing Maria feels weird. On one hand, having Maria with you makes the game less scary since you have someone who keeps the dialogue flowing so you don't feel alone. But on the other hand, and that might just be me, I didn't really feel anything. I mean, James is devastated because Maria looked and sounded like Mary, and losing Maria feels like James wasn't able to protect someone again, just like James wasn't able to cure Mary. More on that later. James decides to keep following Laura, who leaves the hospital, but he ends up losing her tracks. He then ends up again at the Rosewater Park, and you meet Angela again.
I guess things never really stay the same, do they? I don't think she's here anymore, James.
James finds a lead, a key and a letter which directs him to go to the Silent Hill Historical Society. It's like a museum about the town's past, and at the end of it, there's a huge hole into the ground. Hats off to James because he got some massive balls just to jump into the huge hole without thinking what awaits him. The hole drops James in the cafeteria of Toluca Prison, the third dungeon of the game. You also meet Eddie again, although he is weirder than the last time we saw him.
Eddie?
Oh, hi, James.
So he attacked you, and you shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He made me do it.
Okay, calm down, Eddie.
You should see your face, James. I was just joking. The guy was dead when I got here.
Even though he doesn't admit it, I'm pretty sure he shot that guy. Toluca Prison is huge, and fuck this place because it's so fucking dark here. It's almost impossible to navigate without peeking out the corners and moving like a little bitch. And you also got those spider mannequins now that climb the wall, and this, in my opinion, is the scariest part of the game. I mean, just look how I was trying to move myself. The main puzzle of Toluca Prison revolves around an execution site, or gallows, and it's the most interesting puzzle in the game. So the platform has 6 nooses, each with a Roman numeral on top of it, and there are 6 condemned prisoners: an arsonist, a vandal, a thief, a man who kidnapped his daughter, someone who killed an opponent in a duel, and someone who killed their mother. One of these prisoners has a crime that is justifiable, meaning it's a reasonable crime. Now, the twist is that the person whose crime is justified is actually randomized. So you don't know the answer unless you complete the poem to check which one makes the most sense. Once you're sure about which prisoner's crime is justified, you have to go and pull the respective news. This cutscene goes hard as fuck. I mean, seeing James through the news holding it, it's like, I don't know how to say it. It's like he's coming to terms with himself and admitting his crimes. If you manage to solve the poem, the gallows sends James to the labyrinth. The labyrinth is a maze of apartments and corridors. From one of the apartments, you can hear Angela pleading to her father.
Please. I'll be good, I promise. Tell him I'll be good, please.
Angela? Angela, it's me.
No. Please. Daddy!
This is Abstract Daddy, a manifestation of Angela's trauma that she has gone through her entire life. I think by now you have some sort of idea of what happened to Angela. You see, Angela was horribly sexually abused by her father and brother with her mother's complicity. You can understand more about what happened to Angela from the TVs you find when fighting the boss.
Make you sick. Care of you. All this shit. Everything. What I did. Look at me. Run away. Where would you go? There's nothing. No one.
Now we know why whenever we meet Angela, she was acting the way she was. And in case you didn't notice the boss's design, it's abhorrent.
There's nothing. No one.
It's two figures in an intimate position on a bed frame. And I don't think I need to say about what's happening. Masahiro Ito, the game's art director, said that the abstract daddy you're seeing is from James' point of view. So we can only imagine what kind of abomination Angela's version is. Ito also stated that if they would have designed the monster the way Angela saw it, then her character wouldn't have been as fascinating as it is. Defeating the boss, James tries to calm Angela down, but she accuses him that he only saved her because he, like other men, are only after one thing.
It's okay. Calm down.
Don't order me around!
I'm not. It's okay. It's over.
Don't even try.
Try what?
Like you don't know. I see what you're doing. It's always the same with you. You're only after one thing.
Angela, please.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead. Say it. Or you could just force me. Like he always did. You disgusting pig. I hate you. I hate you.
Angela. I don't know who you think.
She also accuses James that he didn't want Mary around anymore and found someone else, to which James denies both our claims angrily.
Admit it. You didn't want her around anymore.
No.
You probably found someone else.
No!
I need to find my mama.
You see, Angela came to Silent Hill in search of her mother after killing her father and brother with a knife. It's the same knife that she gives you in Blue Creek apartment, which has a strip covered in blood. And the reason she's searching for her mother is most likely to kill her as well. Leaving the room, you find Maria in a prison cell, and she seems to be pretty chill about it. Then she says something so weird and random, like, "Just get my man James out of here."
thought that thing killed you.
His brain is probably fucked up with all that happened.
Not at all, silly.
But then it stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Just before. Don't you remember?
James? Honey? Did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything. But you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So you are Maria.
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
It doesn't matter who I am.
James decides to find a way to free Mary from the prison.
I am here for you, James.
Wait, Mary? Maria. I mean free Maria. I've said Maria so much that I'm getting confused.
I'm real.
I'll come back, I promise.
James does some exploration and finally manages to free Maria, only to find her dead. We don't know what killed her. The pyramid head killed her, because we do see him in the labyrinth, but there's no confirmation that it was him. James decides to keep moving and comes across a graveyard with 3 empty graves. 2 of them have the name Eddie and Angela, while the final grave has the name Jumping into the grave, you have your final confrontation with Eddie.
Couldn't leave well enough alone, huh? You just had to follow me all the way out here. How many times do I have to kill you?
Eddie? Whoa, Eddie, it's me.
Oh.
Eddie admits that he shot his bully in the leg and he also killed the bully's dog. So we can assume that Eddie came to Silent Hill after running away from the cops. He claims that James have been looking down on him since their first meeting, and that killing anyone keeps looking down on him, including James, will solve the issue. Very reasonable guy.
You ain't laughing now, are you? Yeah, I ran away after I killed that dog. But you know what? It was fun! You'll die here, James. You'll squirm and squeal and cry like a little girl. And then you'll just curl up and die. And it's gonna feel great!
James kills Eddie in self-defense. I don't know if you can say this, but I think James felt remorseful after killing Eddie. Even though Eddie decided to shoot first, he was still a human being at the end. But James had no choice. It was either him or Eddie. Leaving the area or what looks like a slaughterhouse, James finds himself near a port with a boat waiting for him. Rowing the boat and following the light, James finally arrives at Lakeview Hotel. This is the special place that Mary mentioned in a letter. The place where James and Mary stayed during their vacation in Silent Hill. And it's the final dungeon of the game. Like all the buildings and locations you went through, Lakeview Cabin is also abandoned. Wait, Lakeview Cabin? Lakeview Hotel, sorry. I got confused with the game Lakeview Cabin. By the way, I watched Pewdiepie play Lakeview Cabin as a kid, and for some reason, that game scared the shit out of me. If you haven't tried, I recommend that game as well.
What the fuck? Yo, what's up, bitches? Where's everyone going? Oh god, my leg. It's a...
Anyways, the hotel is very different than the rest of the locations. First, it's bright as fuck. I think this is the most well-lit area I've seen in the entire game. And second, we don't see any monsters, which I think would have been great for a final dungeon, you know, just the puzzles and no monsters to shoot. But that happiness is taken away right after you meet Laura.
Did I scare you?
Yeah, you did. I guess I deserved it, huh? The fart face that I am.
Maybe. Then again, maybe you're not so bad. Just annoying.
Laura finally decides to talk to James, only because she read a letter that Mary gave to her nurse to pass on to James and Laura after her death. And Laura ends up stealing it.
No. Want to read it? Just don't tell Rachel, okay?
Who's Rachel?
She's our nurse. I took it from her locker.
The letter states that Mary wanted to adopt Laura and celebrate her 8th birthday.
I'm leaving this letter with Rachel to give to you after I'm gone. I'm far away now, in a quiet, beautiful place. I love you, Laura. I love you like my very own daughter. I wish things were different. I wish we could be happy together, like we talked about. Happy 8th birthday, Laura. Your friend, Mary.
Laura. How old are you?
I turned 8 last week.
That means... Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago.
Wait, so it's all in the head? So was James hallucinating everything this whole time? Because if this letter is only a week old, or 2 at max, then Mary is alive and didn't die 3 years ago.
Talked a lot about Silent Hill. She even showed me all her pictures. She really wanted to come back. Well, there kind of was this other letter. I think the one was for you. The envelope had your name on it.
Laura runs off again because there's another letter for James which he lost somewhere.
Where is it then?
I must have lost it. I gotta find it.
Laura!
There's a piano in the room and you can play a note on it. I thought if you keep playing it, I might get an achievement, but nothing happened and I just wasted 5 minutes. There's also a videotape that James made when he and Mary stayed here and he left at the hotel before leaving. Your current objective is to find the vacation tape that James made and getting to James and Mary's old room. There's a section in this dungeon where you don't have any weapons, like you put them in a locker before you get to that area, and the way you get to the area is via a lift, and the lift has a weight limit, so you have to leave your weapons outside. I mean, it is a good addition to the game. It makes the gameplay a little refreshing because you don't have any weapons, you can't shoot anything. You have to just do a little game of hide and seek. Getting to their old room, James uses the VCR to watch the tape, and I think I'll let the cutscene play.
Are you taping again? Come on. I don't know why, but I just love it here. It's so peaceful. You know what I heard? This whole area used to be a sacred place. I think I can see why. It's too bad we have to leave. Promise you'll take me again, James?
When Mary fell ill 3 years ago, the doctors calculated that Mary has 3 years left to live at most. Maybe even less than 3 because there was no treatment for this disease. And James, hearing this news, was shocked that the doctors basically decided to give up on Mary. So James takes it upon himself and started going through the medical books and research, hoping to find some way of some info on the disease. As the time passes, Mary is stuck bedridden, and as her illness gets worse, her skin starts to show. I don't know what to call it, so I'll just say symptom marks. Because of this, Mary starts thinking of herself as quote unquote monster. James and Mary's plan of having kids also comes to a halt because of her illness, and the disease takes a toll both on James and Mary's mental health. Because of all this, Mary starts getting frustrated and starts lashing out on those closest to her, mainly James. And because of all the verbal abuse from Mary, James turns to drinking a fair bit as an escape, and his visits to Mary in hospital becomes less and less frequent as a result. James starts hating Mary, starts seeing her as a burden and wants his life back. But at the same time, seeing Mary in pain and losing her filled him with pain and sorrow. Confused with what to do, And with his mental health almost destroyed, something in James snaps and he ends up killing Mary, suffocating her with a pillow. To James, it looked like a mercy killing. He's freeing his wife, the person he loves the most in this world, from pain which has put her in a state that she thinks it would have been better if the doctors would have killed her.
It'd be easier if they just killed me.
You can hear this in the final conversation that James had with Mary before he kills her. The letter that James is reading at the start of the game about how Mary wanted to meet him at this special place, it doesn't exist. James, overwhelmed with despair, guilt, and trauma, repressed the memory of him killing Mary and thinks that it was the disease that took away Mary from him 3 years ago, when it has only been few days since Mary died. Yes, James killed Mary only few days ago from the start of the game. After killing Mary, James carries her body and put her in the backseat of the car and drove to Silent Hill. So when the game starts, the green car you see outside the restroom with one of its gate opened, Mary's body is there in the backseat. You can't see it as since we're playing James, to him, Mary died 3 years ago. And the real reason James came to Silent Hill was to take his life. He couldn't live without Mary, and the guilt of killing her made him decide that he wants to be with his wife, together in death. James decides to tell Laura the truth, and as you might expect, she takes it very well.
She died because she was sick.
I killed her.
Killer! Why'd you do it? I hate you! I want her back. Give her back to me. I knew it. You didn't care about her. I hate you, James!
James is taken to the Shadow Realm for the final time. It's time to confront his sins. With the hotel in a rotten state, James hears Mary's voice from the radio, telling him to come find her.
Mary? But where? Where are you?
You're so close now. Please, don't leave me out here, James.
From this point on, you don't fight any monsters. You will find some ammo and healing items around, but no monsters to use them on. James meets Angela for the final time on a burning staircase. If you look at the side of the staircase, you can see two humanoid corpses skinned and stitched on a frame. The corpses belongs to Angela's father and brother, not literally but figuratively.
You.
I'm sorry, Angela. I think you were right. What we're looking for, it's not here. Not anymore.
Thank you for helping me earlier. But I wish you hadn't. Even Mama said it. I deserve what happened.
No, Angela, that is not true.
Don't pity me. I'm not worth it. Or maybe you think you can save me? Will you love me? care for me? Heal all my pain?
She also asked for a Nike pack that she gave James back at the apartment. It's clear that she intends to take her life, and James, realizing this, refuses to give the Nike pack.
Give me back the knife.
No, I won't.
Saving it for yourself. Have it your way. It doesn't change anything.
The flames around the staircase represents how Angela's life has always been a living hell.
It's hot as hell in here.
You see it too? For me, it's always like this.
It's not exactly told what happens to Angela, but most likely she takes her own life. Oh, and the game director confirmed this. Leaving Angela to her own devices, you'll once again see the monsters that you have fought throughout the game, but this time it's different. They don't attack you, they just collapse. You can attack them, but it's pointless now. Once again, James finds Maria tied up to what looks like a cage, where she's immediately killed by the two pyramid heads.
James!
Leave her alone! Leave us both the hell alone!
Remember how at the start of the video I was saying how all of these monsters have some type of symbolism behind them? I think we can talk about this now. The town of Silent Hill creates these monsters from the psyche of the people that are in the town. If you have any kind of guilt, sorrow, a sense of punishment, the town will take these feelings and manifest them into these monsters. These monsters, they don't really exist. It's just something that the town created, and this is the reason why, to Laura, the little girl, to her this town is just an abandoned town. She doesn't see any of those monsters because she doesn't have any guilt. She didn't commit any crime. She's just a normal kid who came to Silent Hill in search of her friend Mary. But it's not same for our other characters. In the novelization, when Eddie dies, he sees 4 large dogs attack him and ripping out his intestines. And these 4 large dogs, they look like the dog that Eddie killed before he came to Silent Hill. In Angela's case, it was Abstract Daddy. And since I've already talked about that, what that monster symbolizes, I'll just skip it for now. The final character is James, and shit, where should I start? Like, there are a lot of monsters that town creates from James' psyche, so we'll just start from the order that they appeared in. The lying figure refers to Mary when she was sick. The body bag part of the monster and the way it moves like it's in pain is exactly how Mary felt when she was bedridden, stuck and tied to the bed, which might as well be a body bag, and the pain that she was suffering with. The mannequin is a 2 pair of dummy legs stitched together, and the simplest way to explain what it represents is James' natural sexual urges, hence the legs and heels. The bubblehead nurse takes after the nurses that James used to see when he visited Mary in hospital. Their swollen head, thus the name Bubblehead, represents Mary's swollen head from the disease, and the red square you see on the nurse's mouth describes Mary's anger and how she used to verbally abuse James. Flesh lips represents Mary on a hospital bed, like how you see the creature in a bed frame. The skin of the monster also looks coarse, like exactly how Mary's skin becomes because of her illness. The Mandarin, who is always hanging by his hands, is James' desire to escape, and that's why you never see that monster on the ground. Finally comes the Pyramid Head, the most human looking enemy in the entire game. The Pyramid Head is the manifestation of James' guilt and his desire for punishment. The Pyramid Head exists because James feels guilty of killing Mary, which he clearly should, and he feels that he needs to be punished for his crime. That's why the Pyramid Head exists, to serve James his punishment. When Maria is killed for the third time, you see that there are two Pyramid Heads. I mean, the first one manifested when James killed Mary, but what about the second one? Well, the second one exists because even though it was clearly self-defense, James still feels guilty for killing Eddie.
I know what you are. I know why I needed you. But it's all over now. I don't need you anymore. I'm ready.
And that's it. That's what each of the enemies symbolizes in the game. I haven't gone into all the nook and cranny about each of the monster, but now you have an idea of what they mean and why they exist. The fight with Pyramid Head is almost like other fights. You keep some distance between you and them and load every single bullet you have. They will occasionally throw the spear at you as well, but it's easily dodgeable. Remember that the Pyramid Head exists because James has a sense of guilt, but once he accepts the fact that he indeed killed Mary, then the Pyramid Head have no purpose now. Like I said, they exist because James never acknowledged his actions. He simply repressed his memory of killing Mary, but now that he has come to terms with it, the Pyramid Heads are no longer needed. Leaving the boss room, you hear the conversation that James had with Mary when she was in hospital.
Flowers? I don't want any damn flowers. Just go home already. Look at me. I'm disgusting. Between the disease and the drugs, I look like a monster. Well, what are you looking at? Get the hell out of here. Leave me alone already. I'm no use to anyone. I'll be dead soon anyway. It'd be easier if they just killed me. But I guess the hospital's making a nice profit off of me. Why are you still here? I told you to go. Are you deaf? Don't come back. James. Wait. Please. Don't go. Don't leave me alone. I didn't mean what I said. Please. Tell me it'll be okay. Tell me I'm not gonna die. Help me.
The final area is at the top of a huge metal building, and James finally gets to meet Mary. Or someone pretending to be Mary.
I have missed you so much.
I've missed you too. We can finally be together. Forever.
No.
James. Honey. What's wrong?
I'm sorry. I know you tried,
James, please.
but she's gone. I know that now.
Stop it.
And I can't just keep pretending.
Shut up! What do you want? Do you even know anymore? I'm yours. I'm here for you. So what if I'm not her? I can give you what she never could. I can be better than her.
I am so sorry, Maria. I really am. But this has to stop. It's time to let it go.
No.
What?
I won't let you do this to me. I won't let you go. I can't!
This is it. This is the final boss. Remember, Maria isn't real. It's something the town created from James' memory of Mary. The fight combines moves from the previous bosses. The first phase is like the Mandarin fight, where Maria is hanging from the ceiling and attacking. She'll use a projectile attack if you manage to put some distance in between, and she also has a tentacle which she apparently can use to choke James, just like how James suffocated Mary. Dealing enough damage, the fight transitions to the second phase, where Maria moves like the flesh-lipped boss, hiding above the ceiling and chasing James and coming out only to attack. Again, deal enough damage and the final phase of the fight begins. Maria can also use a scream attack which can stun and also uses the cage or frame, whatever you want to consider it as the legs and use them to attack you. Like I said, the boss combines gameplay elements from all the previous bosses. Defeating Maria, she falls to the ground and James takes the final shot. Now, I thought of not doing anything and just standing, hoping I'll get some secret ending, but this is no Far Cry 4.
James.
Just take the final shot. The game cuts to James in his car. Losing Mary and unable to forgive himself for his crime, James just can't move on, even though Mary wanted him to. So James starts the car and drives into the Toluca Lake, drowning himself so he can be together with his wife in death.
I tried. I really did, but I can't. Just can't go on without you. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. I know this isn't what you would want. But I guess it doesn't matter anymore. You're not here. Are you?
You get to see the actual letter that Mary wrote to James. I'll let the clip play since it's too heart-wrenching for me to talk about.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did. Well, I'm alone there now. In our special place. Waiting for you to come and see me. But you never do. So, I wait. Wrapped in my cocoon of pain and loneliness. I know I've done a terrible thing to you. I wish I could change that, but I can't. I feel so pathetic and ugly laying here. Every day I stare up at the cracks in the ceiling, and all I can think about is how unfair it is. The doctor came today. Told me I could go home for a short stay. It's not that I'm getting better. It's just that this could be my last chance. Even so, I'm glad to be coming home. I missed you so much. But I'm afraid, James. I'm afraid you don't really want me to come home. Every time you come to see me, I can tell how hard it is on you. I don't know if you hate me or pity me. Maybe I just disgust you. I'm so sorry. When I first learned I was gonna die, I couldn't accept it. I was so angry. I struck out at everyone I loved. Especially you. And that's why I understand if you hate me. But I want you to know, I will always love you. Even though our life together had to end like this, I still wouldn't trade it for the world. Well, this letter has gone on too long, so I'll say goodbye. I told the nurse to give this to you after I'm gone. Which means that as you're reading this, I'm already dead. But that's okay. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I just hope the pain will end soon. So that you remember me for who I was. And not what the disease made me. I want you to go on. I want you to live. For yourself. And for others. Like you did for me. James. You made me happy.
Now, this is not the only ending you can get. Depending on how you play the game, the ending changes. The ending that I got is called In Water. And there's a chance you'll get either this or the Leave ending. All of these endings have a prerequisite checklist that you need to do to get them. For example, to get the In Water ending, One of the criteria is having James's health as low as possible most of the time, meaning you don't heal him immediately when he gets any damage. This also means that since James is not healing himself and is injured most of the time, he doesn't care about himself and doesn't care what happens to him. Hence in the ending, he decides to kill himself. Another criteria is if James checks or inspects the knife he gets from Angela. Checking the knife means that, like Angela, James is also considering taking his life. There are few more points in the list, but I think these two have the most impact on the ending. In the other ending, called Leave, after killing Maria, James gets to have one final conversation with Mary when she was still alive but sick. This is mainly because James can get some sort of closure, and this is the conversation which James expresses to Mary his true feelings.
Mary.
Hey, handsome.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. I told you. I wanted the pain to end.
Yeah. You did. But that's not why I did it. The truth is, I hated you. I wanted you out of the way. I wanted my life back.
If that's true, then why do you look so sad?
Mary.
It's okay, James. Here.
What is this?
It's what you've been looking for.
James finds Laura and hands her the final letter from Mary. And James and Laura leaves the Silent Hill together. I'm assuming James ends up adopting Laura, thus fulfilling Mary's wish of having kids. The third ending, called Maria, has James fighting Mary instead of Maria as the final boss and ends up leaving Silent Hill with Maria. I personally don't like this ending at all, so you can read more about the ending online if you want to know more.
Better do something about that cough.
There are a couple of more endings which you can get if you decide to play the game as New Game Plus. There's a rebirth ending in which James decides to just resurrect Mary from the relics he has collected throughout the game.
You look so peaceful. This town, Silent Hill. The old gods haven't left this place, and they still grant power to those who venerate them. Power to defy even death.
There's a UFO ending where James summons a UFO and the UFO drops the James from the original game and takes away the remake James. It's a what the fuck kind of an ending. Oh, and there's also the dog ending. There are 2 more endings which were added in the remake, so you can watch the Silent Hill 2 all endings video on YouTube if you really want to see what they're like. Silent Hill 2 is a tragic game. Good game, but one with a tragic story. The character of James is something I've never seen in any video game. And not just James, every single thing about this game is amazing. The story, the graphics, the music. I mean, holy shit, I didn't get to talk about the music, but the music is like chef's kiss. The characters, the voice acting, the sound design of the world, everything about this game just oozes creativity. And all of this has put Silent Hill 2 easily in my top 10 games of all time. That's all for this video. Ooh, this was a lengthy one. I don't know how this video would do. I'm still new to this whole YouTube thing, but let me know if there's any other game you'd like me to yap about. I also wrote some theories while I was playing the game. I mean, not exactly theories, but like one-line sentences. One of them I wrote was that all of this is some sort of time loop or something, and James ends up becoming the Pyramid Head and is hunting his past self, kind of like Archer from the anime Fate. Anyways, if you like the video, drop a like, dislike if you dislike it, comment whatever you want, just make your presence known. Wow, that sounded like I'm doing ghost hunting. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.